What's going on, Trey?
It's going, man. We're doing this again
Yep.
because what went wrong this first time around?
I deleted the file off of Action, but there was another. But it already exported the file and made an MP3 out of it, or I guess it didn't be an MP4. And I loaded that onto Vegas, which is a different software program, and somehow deleting it originally got rid of it. I still have the theme song though.
That's nice.
I know. The one thing we can just get over and over again. But so we're trying to go over the Incredible Hulk first.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Chronological order is important, son.
Let's
Even though it's been a week and some change since we've last seen the movie.
It's been a goddamn long time. Let's warm this shit up. This is the Infinity warm-ups. This is Jabril and this is Trey, and we're gonna go over the Incredible Hulk and what was. Not venturing into exactly. Well, I feel like I'm not looking for flags. You know what I mean? Like I'm just kind of I'm not looking for like, oh, okay, I counted 11 times where they made reference to something about the show, the movie, the character, or you know what I mean? Like breaking it down by numbers. I'm kind of just watching it overall and seeing what's going on in the movie, and I guess I'm not trying to tear down continuity too much. But
yeah. So wait, you're not looking for tie-ins? I mean, personally, I've been impressed by how they've been laying seeds for Infinity War. But what are you saying?
I meant like checking for certain things, like okay, what makes a good movie versus what is going to make something entertaining for me. And I mean, I think it shouldn't, like these Marvel cinemas and shit like that. Like they shouldn't have to follow all the all movie outlines.
Nor should they cater to the fan base, but it is important to make a good movie, and I believe Marvel has, in this regard. How'd you like this Incredible Hulk version? Did you ever see the 2003 Ang Lee version?
You son of a bitch! I still haven't seen it. I have not gotten around to it. Yes, I saw it. I remember Homeboy was like 10 feet tall in that movie. No, he was like 13 feet. There's this scene in that movie, and we're talking like at least 10 years since my mind has seen this, so my eyeballs or whatever. There's a scene, I think it's around the time where the fucking attack dogs have been like gamma-sized.
The attack poodle.
Yeah, well, there's a few of them, right? There was like a bulldog or something like that.
Like a Pomeranian.
They were fucking crazy.
I don't think anything was bigger than like a bulldog. And like a wheezy bulldog filled with gamma radiation.
Oh, okay, so like I think right before they came and attacked, what's her hot face, Jennifer Connelly? She was like sitting up in a tree, and like alongside the tree was Hulk standing, and I was like, wait a minute, she's sitting like 8 feet off the ground. She's talking to him at like they're like at eye level and shit. Like, what's happening here? How tall is this fucking Hulk? But that was cool.
That's pretty silly.
That was cool. Because I've seen, and you know, I've heard about some alternate versions of Hulk. You know, like I used to be into the what's it called? The stat base, I guess. You know how you would like level out all the characters in like the Marvel universe? You'd give everyone like a power rank, a speed rank, a intelligence. It'd be out of like 10. I'm trying to explain what I've seen here before. I've heard Hulk been like 7 feet tall before, which seems short.
Right.
And I've heard like 13.
Trailer for Thor Ragnarok. He's huge in Ragnarok.
Yeah, but I didn't see. Okay, where's Thor stand up against him? And like up to his knee?
I don't know. He's about nipple level, I'd say.
Well, that's not too much taller. Then what's it, like 2 feet taller?
I mean, you got to account for those shoulders and what's the lat? I guess the lat. The tree trunk neck deal.
Well, I mean,
then the giant head.
That's
another 2 feet.
I was looking at height. I wasn't exactly saying, like, I guess you're going off size. Yeah, he's fucking, like, he's super massive. Kind of like, do you remember when Wolverine started going berserk mode in the comics? Like, in his own comics?
Yeah, but he still stayed 5'3" the entire time.
Okay. Well, no, he got a little taller. He had to have, because he got bigger, but he got so much bigger than Wolverine had ever been. He'd never had that kind of mass before. He went from, like, 200 pounds after the adamantium to no adamantium, 400 pounds. How the fuck? Where did this shit come from?
That's largely dependent on the artist. Late '90s, early 2000s, it was all Jeff Loeb and X-Force and just giant beef Cable. That's when Cable got super popular and everybody had to look like they loved steroids. It's around that era.
Yeah, everyone around the mid '90s, even cartoons, like they all had that same broad shoulder look. Like,
the superhero physique. It went through off my head.
But it went from Marvel to DC though. Like if you just like not even redrew, if you just like took a picture of like Batman from the Batman '90s series, put it on Mario Paint, and just rearrange some colors, it would be Wolverine. I goddamn swear. Like, exactly like.
I'm willing to go with you on that one. Ugh. So where do we want to start with the with this 2008 version of the Incredible Hulk?
Well, I feel like it might be kind of a good idea to say how you feel about the movie immediately, because that'll kind of
set the tone, right?
Well,
I agree.
Well, your voice will will tell everybody anyway, but like if you just say it at first, at least they'll know what to expect, you know?
True, and honestly I'm kind of still out on this movie. I'm not sure whether or not I dislike it. I mean, it's not a bad movie per se, but it's just there's not a lot you can do with the character, the Hulk. And I don't think Bruce Banner, I know you got a lot of neuroscientists, chemists that listen to this podcast, and I just don't think that it's compelling science and looking through. That was one of the largest problems with the 2003 Hulk. There was a lot of slow motion close up of like cells splitting and people looking at atoms through microscopes, and just it's hard to make science fun in a theatrical version. So Bruce Banner is a boring character, and the Hulk is a little one-dimensional Hulk smash sort of guy. So having him in his own solo movie got kind of grating, you know. And it's not that I don't like the Hulk. I think he's amazing in the Avengers, and he's great when he gets to play off people. That's why I'm excited for Thor Ragnarok, because the dynamic between
him and, dog.
Chris Hemsworth is gonna be pretty awesome. But how'd you like the movie?
It sounded like you were wrapping this podcast up, dog, man. I'll see you guys later.
Hardly.
I kind of the same. I mean, with less words. I did like it.
Comic books or cartoons, like what was your favorite iteration of the Hulk? What do you like to see the Hulk do?
It might have been one of these two movies.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, like I just look at things at a different point of view. Sometimes in life, there's kind of a what's it called? It's not you get what you get. What is the phrase I'm looking for? You get what you see is what you get, or whatever.
You can't always get what you want.
Exactly. Okay, that's perfect. Let's play off that theme. You can't always get like a good like Hulk cartoon, but they made one back in the 90s and they aired it on television. And when I was younger, I had a lot of time and TV guides and television. And with that and my draw to just the Marvel comic universe, I had seen the Hulk cartoons. And
the Hulk is fun in like a half-hour interlude where you just put him up against madness, just all kinds of insane, magical, large entities trying to whatever at him. But this one, or rather, at this stage in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, only Iron Man really exists as a costume hero, you know? So the Marvel Universe is kind of small, and the only thing you can really do with Hulk is put him up against the American military. And that's fun for a bit.
Okay, yeah. Good. Okay, good call. Okay, so he's supposed to be the second one, and that's a weird choice to do for the second one. You think the only worst choice you guys could have done was, I don't know, Captain America? Because that movie's fucking boring. And he's fucking boring. God damn it. Why couldn't they just put Thor before
Captain
this?
America, and I think I'm going to turn you over to it when we get around to that podcast.
I
don't see why you say Captain A is boring.
Wait, what?
Why do you think Captain A is boring before we go back to your original point?
Captain A? I mean...
Yeah, he's a good old boy. He's New York.
That's entertaining for you? He was a weird character. Like, that character itself is unbelievable, which is kind of weird. And it is kind of tough to stare at Chris Hemsworth with the what's his name? Chris something else. Chris Evans. Yes. It's kind of weird to stare at him with the Chris Evans face and like an old man, 70-year-old man body for a little while. It's fun. I guess it's funny, but I mean, compare that to at least the weird shit that we saw in the Hulk. And even though there wasn't a lot of Hulk on screen time, all of it made my dick hard. I don't know anything in Captain America that's complex.
Like, the latter. No, I only genuinely enjoy the middle sequence, which I think is great when they're at the university, and we'll get into that a bit later. But that scene is shot well. But the factory scene, it's so dark. They played it like a horror movie, you know? Like the Hulk is like sleeking around corners. I can't see him. They got on like night vision scopes. Like they tried to play it like a monster movie. And the Hulk isn't really a protagonist. He's a force of nature. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. How did you like this movie?
Well, so when I said I kind of felt the same way, it was kind of like, yeah, I like it. It was entertaining. I mean, I wouldn't exactly just, other than any reason for like another podcast, I wouldn't choose to watch it again. I don't see any reason for that. I have chosen on several occasions to watch Avengers over and over, and the same thing with Logan, and I can't wait till we get there over and over again. But
we're not, because that's not tied into the M.C.U. Do your homework, man.
I know, but
that's the X-Men side of things.
I liked the idea. Oh, okay. I don't know how much I really liked the idea if they made him look like a monster. It just kind of made sense to me because we went over this before in the last podcast before it got deleted, and we'll make sure this one doesn't, hopefully. But we went over this before, how it was like, you know, Hulk was kind of a ripoff of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and wasn't it just kind of this alter ego character, or alternate, whatever, who just lets out all its rage. So, I mean, I guess he's not an antagonist, but I mean, I don't know what you would call him. He's just this dude who can't hold any emotion. He just lets everything out.
Exactly.
Physically.
He's a snarling green rage monster. He's a force of nature, which is why you need to play him off of something. Because he doesn't really have any agency on his own. There's nothing the Hulk is really trying to do other than escape all the bullets that you're shooting at him.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
This movie, a lot like Iron Man, has the main three characters, Ross, the Hulk, and Tim Roth. What is Tim Roth's character name in this?
His actual
name. We know this one. Emil Blonsky.
Blonsky.
They're largely creating the chaos that you see unfold on screen. At no point is there really any external pressure on the Hulk to do something other than just get away, just trying to be left alone.
But I mean, you're taking away. You're saying Hulk shouldn't fight back?
No. Totally fight back. That's when he's at his best. But you really have to I guess the best way to say this is remember Johnny Depp's character Jack Sparrow, Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh man.
He was good.
Mm-hmm.
He was good because he was just allowed to be a goofball and other things happened around him. I think I made the same comparison for Iron Man, actually. This is what happens when we don't do it continuously. But yeah, like you can't really rely on the Hulk to drive the plot like you can on Robert Downey Jr., who's, you know.
Okay. I don't know where I don't know where this point came from, but I mean, I'm here with you. But hold on, to go back to that scene though, you were saying where the Hulk seemed like a monster. First of all, they do that again in the Avengers movie. Let's point that out. I mean, we'll get there eventually, but when Scarlet Witch
shadows with like people sneaking up on him,
look, this is the way I looked at it. All right. I saw that they fucking they went guns blazing, and then he transformed Hulk, and it was like, I guess all the lights were out and shit, and then they just made him seem like a crazy monster, because this dude is a crazy monster. Here's what it's like to be human around the Hulk.
Right.
And he's mad, by the way. And I was just like, oh god, I totally understand what's happening. I'd be pissing my pants if I heard that fucking sound. And the same goes for Scarlett Johansson. yeah, that dude was kind of, he was so kill or be killed. Everything he did was a duel. It was just like, what, the end of this conversation, one of us is gonna die, right? No?
Yeah, we'll get to the villains in this one. But as far as characters that have played the Hulk, we've seen, this is Edward Norton do it. You don't really remember the 2003 version, but that was Eric Bana giving a leaden performance, and then Mark Ruffalo also got to be Bruce Banner. Out of those three brunettes, which one is your favorite?
I think you choose Mark Ruffalo. I'll choose for you, some bitch. I think you choose him because you haven't seen him have to do a whole goddamn movie all on his own. This guy doesn't get any superpowers. just watch a fucking Hawkeye movie and tell me you don't hate it.
So are we genuinely saying Mark Ruffalo by default then, just because he was lucky enough to start with the Avengers?
Yeah, he didn't have the chance
Edward
to fuck
Norton
up.
is a great actor. Did you not appreciate him trying his hardest when he was in not Hulk mode?
No,
or was just Mark Ruffalo that charismatic?
I liked it, but I mean, the thing is there's no the wavelength when you get like the squiggly lines, and then it's like when something cool happens, there's like the line gets bigger. Like there's no like climax, whatever you want to call it. Like that doesn't happen too often in this movie unless he's becoming Hulk. So that's why the movie seems so long and dull, is because it's like, if you're watching like an old school porno that's like an hour and a half long, and you took out like all the sex and there's like 30 minutes left, just be the most boring shit you've ever seen.
I mean,
the fuck is happening? These two gonna fuck or what?
I feel about Bruce Banner, like watching porn without the sex. Wow, that's kind of sad. I promise I'm higher on this movie than than that. I mean, it's not the worst thing Marvel has done. I still think pound for pound Ant-Man is the saddest outing in the MCU. I mean, this is a middle of the road movie.
For its time, it came out around a time where it had a lot of competition. I mean, from the same universe, but yeah, like there was a lot of cool shit going on. It was like, it was after Civil War, right?
Ant-Man?
Yeah, after Civil War, after Avengers 2.
Because Ant-Man played a part in Civil War. He got to be the Giant Man.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Okay, my bad. Winter Soldier, the second Captain America. That was one. Yeah, that was really good. And then not long after that was
Cap.
Motherfucker, there was more to it than just him. And he wasn't stuck in World War II? Yeah.
Yes, World War II. I don't know. You're going to have to explain this to me when we get to Captain A.
Is, no, we'll talk about that later. But, okay, so going through this movie, I went over this before, but, I noticed you kind of backstepped a little bit when you were talking about this movie, because you have to remember it has to be a little bit boring and long, not just because it's Hulk, but because this is the first one technically. Even though Hulk came out, there's no continuation here. They show you the entire origin in like 65 seconds.
I appreciated that. That was incredibly efficient.
I wish they would do that with Spider-Man. I'm so sick of origin stories. God damn it.
The way they treated Homecoming, there was not even a mention of Uncle Ben. Like, it wasn't a retread, like the Raimi version. Yeah,
it was about time. That movie's kind of weird, though. I don't know why Aunt May is so hot. I mean, I'm not really complaining. It's weird. It's weird because it totally gives her a different character. You can't just be hot old May. It's like, what if Uncle Ben was a stripper? Like, things would be different.
Fair enough. So you appreciated the expedited origin story and just having him straight to being the fugitive. You like this better as opposed to slowly watching beakers mix. Yeah.
Okay, no, I did like it, but here's the thing: is like they went through it way too fast. Like I know that I have a TV now, and I have this on this copy. It's an old fucking movie, but in the theaters, I didn't register what the fuck was happening. It was just just a flicker. It looks like
because do you actually remember what happened in the opening credits origin sequence retelling? Weren't they working on some kind of a super soldier serum?
It's always wrapped around the super soldier serum. It's like it all comes from the same thing.
Okay.
It was they had Bruce try it out for whatever reason, and I guess because he already had some shit inside of him because he'd been testing. This is where I get lost. I don't know what storyline we're in. Is this the one where he tested on himself with the gamma shit, or did his dad? He got it biologically from his dad.
That might have been the 2003 one, and most depictions of it, and I think this one, it's just some horrible experiment gone awry. Something blew up, and then Hulk rages out.
Yeah, okay, well, they just show, like, him look at this green light, and then it's just like, he's like, fine, and then he just fucking goes apeshit, and it's like, okay, did this trigger something inside of you? Did you just have all this gamma radiation inside of you?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
It's Family Guy touch the best. Whenever you play around in nuclear waste in a superhero movie, you're bound to get powers. But no, it doesn't work like that in the real world.
You just
he was not...
throw nails? That's all you do? Ow!
Yeah. There was no gamma radiation in his body before the blast, and now that there is, he's the Hulk.
Yeah, so that, like I said, I mean, if you watch it 7 times, you get a pretty good idea of what's going on, but if you watch it just once in theaters, like, you could have easily have missed it, or just not registered, like, yo, this is the first frame of the movie. Pay attention, like, how about, like, I don't know, an airplane flying over a mountain or something like that, telling you where you are? Telling you, like, you know, fucking he's in Colombia or some shit. Oh, okay, so we're in Colombia.
Well, it
just starts.
I mean, it in the first 2 minutes gets you right where you need to be in the point, and completely erases any idea that the 2003 one is somehow that you know, this version is a sequel to that, or what kind of plot points are gonna travel over with it. No, they're just gonna tell you right in the opening credits. This is where we're at now.
This is our movie.
We're at a factory in South Africa. Now, how'd you like the factory scene? How do you...
Okay, wait. The one where he goes Hulk?
Yeah, and I believe it's the opening of the movie, if I'm not correct. It's been like 158 days without incident. They're somewhere in Brazil. Bruce is making sodas for Stan Lee.
Okay, yeah, let's point that out. Stan Lee, he was the victim in this movie. He drank the soda with the gamma radiated blood and died, I guess.
And...
he didn't get any of the positive benefits.
Right? Yeah, you don't see him again after that. He has a lot of clout now, appearing in pretty much, I think, all of the Marvel movies. I think he should get a say in what cameo he gets to have, other than dying of a radiated soda.
Well, but, I thought, like, how come he hadn't been doing that from the start? Like, he's always had that, like, a third or half ownership over Marvel, right? Like, his name is like one. If you know any name that represents Marvel, it's Stan Lee. I don't know the Stan Lee of DC.
Get Jack Kirby.
I don't. Okay.
He's the other guy.
Sounds familiar.
Go on.
Yeah, I don't know the Stan Lee of DC, man. I don't. Is there one? Is there two?
Talking to the wrong guy. Not much of a Batman buff.
You said Batman.
I mean, I'm sure.
I said DC.
I mean, I'm sure Frank Miller gets to have the mainstay on it, but
he's one of those guys who didn't, like, he just owned a couple characters in a comic store. He didn't run a whole business.
No, I don't know. I mean, you got to think about the time when they're starting to crank out characters like Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, and when they're doing all the blueprints for the X-Men and stuff. Like, you can just crank out a character every week. It was a monthly publication, and you had to have a deadline. So you just, like you said at the top of the show, the Hulk is just an amalgamation of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Believe he was created around the Cold War, so the Hulk is a response to nuclear proliferation and Americans' fear of what'll happen if they get radiation poisoning.
Honestly,
I guess it's a lighter spin on it. You turn into a big green rage monster as opposed to terminal cancer.
Well, you know what's weird is, like, I only judge things from my point of view. I don't know. I don't know if we're all like
point
this.
Of view could you judge things from, by the way?
You could. Oh, well, I mean, you know, you could. I don't know if somebody publicized something, you could see what their point of view is and go, hey, all right, well, I see yours and I see my point of view. That's how we do it.
Fair enough.
When I was young and I knew jack shit about Hulk, I mean, we're talking, I was probably 9. Like, and I had just seen maybe like a cartoon or two at that point. I didn't know anything. And I put together a story in my head for some reason. And the story in my head was just like, well, this is just some guy who's just like, he's a pipsqueak. He's just this pipsqueak doctor guy walking around lab coat, and like, he's a response to like people getting picked on. You fucking pick on this guy, you think he's a pipsqueak. He goes Hulk and he just whoops your ass, and it's like, and that was the end. And then years later, when I gave a fuck,
no, that was more relegated to Spider-Man, the dweeby guy who secretly has powers. And yeah, it was cool when Spider-Man did it because he would just stick you to the ceiling. Like, the Hulk would squeeze you and pop you. And like,
well, they've made him stronger over the years. But I mean, that's a good point. Well, because I don't know. I never read the old comics, and it's hard to gauge what really happened when people were stupider back then. It's like, what, like, well, because when you first come out with the character, don't you have to, like, do they give them limitations right away? Do they break those limitations after some point? Of course they do. Look at Iceman, dude. I watched a video how broken that dude is. Let's do a podcast about that.
He's pretty ridiculous.
That dude, he's
one of those Omega level.
Yeah, yeah. He's like one of the 5 with him and Jean Grey, like.
And Storm. Don't forget that Storm desperately needs her own solo movie.
It's mostly the women, right?
No. God, no. Like the Black Widow? Don't ever give her a movie.
Oh, well, she's not. Black Widow's human.
Yeah.
No, I meant like the. No, okay. Okay. Fine. Let's go way off topic here. Is it me, or like all the female mutants, like the best ones out there?
I'm partial to Gambit myself.
Wow.
But that's only because I desperately want a Creole accent.
I mean, look at the X-Men, dude. Rogue, Storm, and Jean Grey. Like, that's it. Like, if they just decided to revolt against the guys on the team, like, you're fucked. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I go where there isn't weather. I don't know. It's all bad for you.
Like, they got the muscle. The muscle can fly, and she can imitate your abilities.
In all fairness, Rogue really just absorbs people's memories, and if they happen to have powers, she gets those too. So on her face, she's not all that powerful. And
then that part where she's Miss Marvel, just flying around, not giving a fuck.
Yeah, she nearly killed Miss Marvel and took her powers out. It was like a my bad kind of thing. And she was going through a phase back then.
Miss Marvel, the Avenger.
Yes, Carol Danvers.
So she's on Avenger level. Like, this is a dope fucking bit. Yeah, so it was Storm. And let's go a little further. What about, like, how cool it'd be to be Quicksilver, but how lame it could be if your sister was Scarlet Witch and Polaris? That's not fair, bro. I'd have called in a fake. I'd have been like, Dad, what the fuck? How does it pass?
We got to talk a lot about Scarlet Witch when they introduce her into the MCU, but her powers have always bothered me because they're so ill-defined. You know,
yeah,
like it's hex powers, the power to manipulate probabilities, but
and it's not like she's an old mutant witch, because that would be cool, because then she would know what's going on, right? Like if she was like in the woods, like the Blair Witch, and she was just like 50 years old, she would know what her powers are at this point. She's always like 18, just like, I don't know what to do, and things happen.
Well, I mean, in the mainstream comic universe, she's been kicking around this for a while. She got rid of all the mutants, Jabril.
And well, hold on, man.
All of them went away.
Slow down, man. You said M.C.U. I know. I've heard of the House of M. All right. Mm-hmm. I'm not all that up to date on everything. I'm saying, like, in the movie, like she's literally like she's not a mutant, but I mean she's more than likely a new mutant. Look at her brother. They have to be new. This dude got shot to death. I'm skipping chapters, Trey. He got shot to death by bullets.
That's only because Bryan Singer, or wait, maybe it wasn't Singer. Whoever directed First Class. Which X-Men movie did Quicksilver show up in? The first time around when they had that neato slow motion sequence.
Something Days of Future Past.
No, that was the second one when he rescued everyone from the mansion, I believe.
No, that was
But
the
yeah,
first...
like either way, both of those sequences
Was it?
were pretty neat. And since they didn't do that with Avengers, then you kind of have to kill them. Plus, nobody ever dies in Marvel movies, so why not off Quicksilver?
It's like, but you couldn't like. You couldn't have drawn off the page like any worse. Like, and then Quicksilver died. Like, wait, what? Like, oh, he was in front of a helicopter. Wait a minute. It's not even like an interdimensional being who shot him with light, and we don't know how fast the light is, so we assume it's light speed. Therefore, Quicksilver died. It was this gun on a helicopter just shooting at a couple 100 miles an hour. Like, not really all that fast.
Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised that they used him in the first place because he occupies that weird legal loophole with Fox because he's, Magneto's son, and the M.C.U. is not allowed to. Definitely, they can't say Magneto, and they're not allowed to say mutant at all. They're not even allowed to reference characters like that.
That would be dope as fuck, though. Could you imagine if they like adopted Magneto on the Avengers team? Just was like, all right, Infinity Wars. That'd be pretty badass, right?
It would be nice if Marvel had all their ducks in a row and got all the contracts from Fox and Sony so that we don't have to suffer through another Fantastic Four movie made completely out of spite. All right, but back to the Hulk. Okay. We just poisoned Stan Lee. And by the way, that is how they find out Bruce Banner's location.
Yeah.
through soda.
Very simple. They just cut it and gave it right to the audience. All right, this pallet came from Brazil. It's going to USA. Find out where they did that. Oh, that was Steve told me it was this one soda factory.
And what tipped Bruce off to the fact that they were there for him? Because if I recall correctly, it was just a mission to go in, trank him, and get out. And at this point, he's just a scientist who's gone 158 days without incident. How did it go wrong for them?
I feel like I should let the movie play a little bit and then find out, because I'm trying to think of what scene you're talking about. Like, he caught on to them. Okay, he thought he covered up his tracks, right? When he dried up the blood stain, but he didn't realize it was in a bottle. So it wasn't like he was waiting to be caught.
Because he's not careful, apparently, after years on the lam.
They made it abundantly clear he's very good at hiding from us. Therefore, when they came and looking for him, he knew they were there. Just said and done, dude. Moving on. Just next chapter. I honestly don't know. I don't know how a lot of things happen. It seems like Bruce owns like a hat, some pants, and a laptop. And he's just making moves. He's talking to this guy. He's got this weird, cyber name going on with the Mr. Green, and he's somehow only Mr. talking Blue. To him.
There we are. We forgot to talk about that character. Is that the Dr. Samson character? Because the last time we talked about this, you're the one who told me that Dr. Samson was in this. I totally missed it the first time around. Is that who you're referring to, or is this someone else?
Samson was that guy with the green hair, right? That's super...
In the comic books, yes, but there's nobody green-haired in this movie.
Okay, no, Samson was
psychiatrist's boyfriend of Betty Ross?
Yeah.
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's who played Samson.
Yeah, they kind of threw that in as a throwaway character. That's a shame, too, because he's pretty cool in the comics.
Well, I mean, I just thought they had to... what do you mean by throwaway character? Like, they don't have to use him again? Or this, at least this character played a role, even though we don't need them?
Well, I mean, other than Thaddeus Ross, do you see anybody from this series coming back in? I mean, they're not even gonna...
From who? The Hulk comics?
I was gonna say Jennifer.
Who's his partners? Rick Jones?
Rick Jones. Yeah. There'll be none of that.
I thought they made reference to him in this movie.
Tyler again.
That's okay. So that's a good point. That's, if anything I know about the Hulk comics, which it's not all that much. There's like two people kicking it with this guy, and it's normally Rick Jones. And it's possibly because he has a motorcycle. He could just keep up with him a little bit, kind of.
As he jumps city to city.
But okay, so that's a good point. I feel like it's weird when I don't know, whoever is directing the movie or whoever writes the movie, like, does it like that, where it's like, okay, well, so you're just honing in on this as Hulk. We're not going to go with any of his old characters at all. Like, so it seems they're using them by name. This is Dr. Samson was the guy she's dating. They're making it look like, in fact, they have the same name. That guy, Mr. Blue, is going to, well, if they were to continue making these movies, Mr. Blue would continue to be the leader.
Didn't he get killed by Tim Roth?
No.
As the Abomination, though?
No, he's not dead. He's, like, laying on the ground. He looks like he's injured. His eyes are open, and then the gamma, like, that exploded, like, from when he left, like, is dripping onto his head, and you see his head kind of boil. And that made me...
he's totally dead, is what you're saying.
Not at all. This is the M.C.U, dog. Nuh-uh.
Oh, that just gives you powers? I forgot.
Yeah, well, it fell on his head while he was bleeding, and therefore, just, collaboration. But I saw his head start shaping, and I was just like, I wonder. And then I looked it up, and on IMDb, they gave him the same name as the character from the leader, first and last. Like,
okay.
I don't know what else to do with that. I assume, but I assume that's what they would have done had they continued this. But I don't know. It's you were talking to us a little while ago about the Shield, like how the Shield TV show, about how you wanted to maybe do a podcast on that. And I deterred immediately because I thought kind of this thought I just had a minute ago, where it was like, this just seems like a show of secret agents that fight and have some cool fight scenes from some bad storyline, and they just slap the Marvel label on it because who are these characters? None of them. Well, Agent Coulson. All right. And he...
S.H.I.E.L.D. had a pretty decent run in the comic books. I think it was called the Secret Avengers, and like Cap and Nick Fury were a bit of the mainstays in it. But they have some good background characters. Dum Dum Dugan, Maria Hill is pretty awesome, and you'll see her later on in the Avengers. But yeah,
some of them show up from time to time, and then it's kind of cool. But I feel like the wait to get there is like, is it worth it? How much? I refuse to watch Gotham. Fuck that. Are you joking?
You and the rest of America. Is it still on, by the way?
No, not the rest of America. Almost everyone I know, which is like 5 people, who work in the same building as me, like they all watch it. They keep telling me
Do they like it?
Like just like Game of Thrones. Yeah, I watch Game of Thrones, and I watch that. But these are the same people. I talk about Game of Thrones. They tell me to watch Gotham. I'm just like, no, I refuse. I've seen like 6 episodes. I don't want to see this shit. It's way too. You just what it is. It's like, I don't know, if you hang around long enough, something good's gonna happen.
Yeah, but there's no Batman in it, right? I mean,
I've heard,
right?
Well, that's my main problem.
You've seen
it's not called
episodes.
Batman.
Did anyone fly by in a black cape?
No, they were doing a lot of character development for like Penguin and.
Okay, so they just go into the villains of it. That could be pretty neat, in like a "Where's Batman" kind of way.
I mean, it could be. I don't know. It depends how much time you have, dude. I mean, if you have enough time, there's a lot of good shows that are good. If you haven't watched Jailbreak, I've never seen it, but if you told me I wasn't going to die for 100 years, I'd get around to it.
All right, fair enough.
But it's when I say slap the label on it, I mean literally that. I mean, like, this is a Monopoly game, and I'm going to print, like, just for this example, just Hulk all over it, and I'm gonna call it Hulkalopoly, and it's a brand new game. It's like, no, this is Monopoly. It's just everything is green. It's all just different shades of green. Like, that's what I think of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a few, like episode 8.
Oh, okay.
Like episode 8, I think they made reference to Loki and like the Asgard a time or two, and then they had, I think, was it a character or a weapon? It was a weapon, I think, that was like. And they gave it a good story. I liked it. It was like broken up. It was like 3 parts broken up. And then once you put it together, it's a god's weapon. And then like once someone put it together, they were dope as fuck. And they had a cool like fight scene. And then some stupid shit happened. And I just lost track of it. And I was like, man, in the next episode, just totally different episode. There was no continuation. And it wasn't nearly as cool. That one was good. Not going to lie.
I've only made it halfway through episode 1. Because I thought that, and if I said this on the Iron Man podcast, I'm sorry, but I thought that the character who was playing the bad guy, was Luke Cage, and they were doing it so bad. he was just espousing all of the cliche villain one-liners, but it turned me around immediately when I think it was you who told me that character is actually Deathlock.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
One of the many.
So that immediately makes it way better, kind of.
Well, Trey, I'm telling you, dude, if this were a cartoon, this would be pretty fun to watch.
Okay.
It's just so much. It's just so much easier to do. It's just because when you think about it, like, okay, think about if this were like, what are we even talking? Oh, S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, think about if this were a S.H.I.E.L.D. cartoon and someone made reference to Trey. You got to help me out. What are we talking about? I'm totally zoning.
Cartoons. Someone makes reference to Thor's hammer.
Oh, no. Okay, but no, you said Deathlock. Okay, so now you can think of a story maybe wrapped up in 20 minutes that you could tell, maybe 40 if it was a 2-part episode, that you could tell with a lot of action. And Deathlock is a character that is not a single character. He's multiple characters, right? He's just like an android or something. So you could have more than one if you wanted. It's not like the one and only. You could see this getting kind of cool and action-packed, and if it was wrapped up in an animation, it would be really cool, but it's wrapped up in 40 hours of drama. And they don't use him every episode like you would think.
Okay.
It's just interesting that they used an interesting character. No, of course not.
I mean, it'll make a good companion piece, especially when we get around to doing
Captain
America Winter Soldier. Oh, no. I'm not saying that we're going to do a podcast on it. Dear God, no. but it'll just help to chuck one-liners about, oh, I know where that person's from.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to do that with DC, because DC's kind of killing it with Green Arrow, Flash... Green Arrow's on like season 5. It's got to be pretty good, right?
Oh my God, I have no idea. I'm Netflix. I can't Hulu. I don't even have cable, man.
Me either.
I don't know. I cut the cord a while ago. Bruce Banner is looking for a cure to the Incredible Hulk. He no longer wants to be big, green, and scary, Jabril.
And I don't know for the life of me why not. You want to know why? Because he thinks he's alone. He thinks there's no one out there who's like him, who he can partner up with, and whoop ass with, and or whoop ass on. He just thinks it's all a bunch of humans, and they're all trying to, kill him and capture him and take away his humanity and his wiener. All those things collectively.
There's no place in the world for the Hulk. I mean,
they show you in like 3 movies. He's a good friend of
with him?
If you've watched the cartoons, Trey, this is I like that they make these into movies, but they're too unbelievable. Every explosion is like $1 billion scene. It's like if you just drew them and made them into cartoons, it'd be like what, $200 to make it. Like, I don't know what it costs, but it can't be nearly as much, and they could do it much more often. Hulk, like if you just watch like Avengers, like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, like he just hangs out in Avengers Towers, just like Goku and Gohan in Super Saiyan form. He's just as Hulk. He's playing video games with Hawkeye, and if Hawkeye pisses him off, he'll just throw a couch at him.
Okay.
It's hilarious. It's awesome. And then when it's time to kick ass, he fucking goes and hulks out. But
that's entirely intolerable. That's not acceptable, Jay.
What do you mean?
Can't have somebody hanging out, breaking door handles, just eating all the food.
Tony Stark's footing the bill. It's totally fine.
You can't fit on the toilets. No, Jay. You can't have the Hulk just around as scenery. You'd have to address it. It's literally the elephant in the room. So I see you're taking the Tony Stark side of yeah, why don't you embrace your powers? But I say no. I say if every time you get mad, you destroy, completely devastate any area within your vicinity, then no, you look for a cure for that every time.
No, you're joking.
You're sticking with Hulk powers. You're gonna have to explain to your family every time you just take.
What
out the
family,
city.
Dude? I would just move on and be the Hulk. Are you kidding me? How do you give that up?
Then you'll be making sodas in Brazil.
That's the worst part about Bruce Banner is he tries to get rid of the Hulk. Just learn this. This is a part of you now. Just control it, just like Mark Ruffalo did. Just own that shit, dude.
It's always angry.
It's totally, look, it's something that you do. It's like, look, I don't know all this mystic bullshit, and it's hard to say what I would do if I were in their spot. But if I were, hold on,
avenging, what would you do?
I'm just saying, look, if I were bitten by a werewolf and it was a full moon and I went to wolf mode, it would suck not to be me anymore, but I would consciously try to control what's happening until I gain full control, until I'm the wolf. I'm just saying. And then I would do things as a wolf. It's just like Trey, listen to me. Every time you play a video game, you play a different character, right?
Right.
And sometimes
you assume the identity of your avatar. I gotcha.
It's good to do this in real life from time to time, don't you think? If you had the opportunity.
To roll around in gamma radiation, and if I somehow don't die of cancer and turn into the Hulk instead, I definitely wouldn't go back to work. I mean,
right? What are you doing?
At the same point,
unless you got a massive raise.
He lifts all the things way faster than anyone can lift the things.
Will you hand me that forklift?
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely do like the Hulk. It's a problem when he's by himself and doesn't have Hawkeye to play video games with.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would like a She-Hulk movie. I think She-Hulk is more compelling of a character because she can. It's not triggered by rage like Bruce Banner's is.
Yeah.
Like she can just turn into the Hulk.
No, she just is.
I would
She-Hulk.
prefer that.
Yeah, she just stays that way all the time, right?
Jennifer, well, I mean, she chooses to. Because why not?
I didn't know that. I thought she was just stuck that way.
Nope, she's a lawyer, son. I think.
Okay, didn't tell me she can't practice law. I'm sure I've seen it in the cartoons before, goddammit. If they're going to draw it, animate it, and act in it, that is a verifiable source of evidence, goddammit.
Sure. Let's see. He is running about. How did he make it back to the States once he escaped? We glossed over the initial fight with Tim Roth in his Goonies going to capture Bruce Banner. Yeah. He gets a forklift thrown at his face and decides that thing was. Wait. Does he decide right now that he wants to be a better soldier? Yeah. Immediately after this fight in the factory, Tim Roth goes to General Ross. And says, hey, you got some of that Hulk stuff? Yeah, that was my beef with and I love Tim Roth. He's a great actor, and he brings his serious face to everything that he does. But his character, Emil Blonsky, was so happy to throw his life away in the pursuit of strength.
Exactly. That's what I'm telling you, man. He just had a different path. I mean, this dude, he gave up everything. His humanity. There's no fucking bitches anymore. None of that. Like, now you don't have a cock anymore. And it's like, I mean, now if someone told you that right now, this sounds terrible. What do you mean I don't have a cock anymore? But if they said you're also the Rhino from Spider-Man, you might be like, I don't know that I need a dick anymore. I don't know that there's a reason for him to live, to be quite honest. I don't know what he would do if he's not stealing money to buy hookers. What is Rhino doing exactly?
It's just the progression was weird. I think Ross says something about, your knees aren't working like they used to as a 25-year-old man or something. He's like, yeah. And then just give me all the super soldier serum juice. I'll take it. I'll take it all.
Well,
so
he knew.
I just thought that there was
I think he knew. He knew about the super soldier serum. He knew something about that. He had to.
Yeah, when he came in and talked to Ross, because he first of all, Ross did not tell them that they were going to get the Hulk.
Right?
I believe they just said Bruce Banner, and they were all surprised when that is the target. You know?
Yeah.
I think you want to brief your special forces guys a little bit better than that. The fact that Tim Roth even came back to Ross after that, I got to start calling him Blonsky. The fact that Blonsky even went back to General Ross after that is blasphemous. Like, no, you nearly tried to get us all very murdered.
I mean, Yeah, it's a good point. I think, like at that point, it was just like, all right, asshole, let me have a little bit of what he's got. And he's just like, I don't know, man. He's like, come on, man, you want a super soldier, man? Like, come on, man. And then let me and then after that, like, I feel like the stage of super soldier he got the first time allowed him to double jump. Does that make sense?
He double jumps in the angle one.
But he's basically like, he's still a human, but like if you could double jump, like you'd be totally different.
I mean, it would change things. Right. How does Bruce get back to the States? I believe he hitchhikes a ride to Chicago?
They just drove him. Honestly, I don't know. We're at like 50 minutes, dude. Like, do you want to go on the specifics? How about we just blow past this? We didn't like this movie all that much.
Man, I'm really proud of us for making it this far.
For even doing a repeat is bad enough. I don't know if there's time to do Iron Man. You would think we should postpone that?
Definitely, for sure. And there's more to say about this movie, to its credit. I mean, let's talk about the Abomination.
Okay.
Because or even then, my favorite sequence in it, which is the fight at the college when they somehow trap him into this greenhouse overhead observatory. How did he even end up in that horrible situation while he was trying to run from people?
See, it's situations like that you can't. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm probably way away from the mic. You can't ask questions, dude. That was just beautiful. That was just it was awesome. Like the scenery, like how they did that. I don't care. Don't give one fuck.
And I appreciated that it was a daytime fight sequence too, because I didn't appreciate that they were playing in the factory like it was a monster movie. But the CGI for 2008 held up really well in the light, and they had the college kids taking cell phone videos of it as it was all going down. How do you feel about Blonsky going toe to toe with the Hulk and getting kicked in the sternum into a tree?
God, you call that toe-to-toe? He just called him out. He's just like, like Hulk is just looking at him like, do you understand? I'm not trying to fight, goddammit. Boom!
And just cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
All right, so after that, the best sequence in the movie, we somehow make it to Dr. Blue's laboratory or whatever, and this is where Blonsky's turned into the Abomination. Do you know much about the Abomination? I know you watched more of the cartoons, and he was featured in that.
Well, in the cartoons, like Abomination, like became his friend after a while. It was Rick Jones, right?
Bullshit, really?
Am I right? Well, who does Rick Jones become? He like some shit happens to him too. He becomes a Hulk
later. Yeah, you're right, and I think it is Abomination, to be fair.
Well, who's A-Bomb? Is that a different character?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is that?
Who is A-Bomb? I have no clue.
Well, because I know there's Abomination and A-Bomb. I don't know if they're just like Snoop Dogg and Snoop Lion.
Yeah, we're gonna call that an abbreviation, and in which case the Abomination is Blonsky / Ross for all intents and purposes.
You know what we should do? We should do, like, it'd be more interesting to do some of the What If series.
Certainly. But all right. So how did you like the monster on monster vibe? For me,
oh god, that scene when he just said "fuck it," like I don't know if I'm gonna be Hulk or not, but kick me out of the plane because I can't sit back and watch this Earth go to hell.
Yeah, that was kind of ballsy because right before that, he doesn't know if he has powers anymore, right? Didn't they try to cure him? Well, wait, didn't they successfully cure him? And he just jumped out of a plane anyway? No, there had to have been some lip service paid to that. Otherwise, that's suicide. In fact, he doesn't even turn into the Hulk when he hits the ground. He turns into the Hulk after he's thoroughly like an Edward Norton-sized indent in the pavement, and then comes out the Hulk.
Yep.
You gonna make it?
Nope.
You gonna make it?
Keep talking.
I mean, it's nice of Ross to turn the corner on Bruce, acknowledge that, yeah, the abomination's sort of my fault, so I'm going to use this other giant green monster to stop him. So you go ahead and use 2 SUVs as boxing mitts.
You say
duke it out in the streets.
Sorry about that.
Just away from
you
the
say,
mic, maybe, you know?
You say use. It's hard to get away from them. Man, you don't understand. There's so many chords. I don't know that he used them. I think he was just, all right, let it happen. Hey, he wants to go out there.
No, yeah. He acknowledged that I'm the only one who can stop him. And Ross is like, fuck it. Let's roll the dice on all this collateral damage.
I don't know what I could lose.
I because this movie is so early into the Marvel Cinematic, like, I really wish that Guardians of the Galaxy was like the second movie that they released, just so that we don't have sequences like Iron Man fighting another Iron Man suit, or the Hulk going up against a more irradiated version of himself.
But that's the thing, dude, is like, we keep saying it, dude, like, who are the Hulk's villains? Like, the leader, and he's gamma radiated too. Like, all of his villains are just villains that are like not nearly as strong as him when he's half mad.
Well, I thought they went the Superman road with a lot of Hulk's villains and just have them like try to outsmart him. Actually, no, I take that back.
The leader is really smart.
He's predominantly going up against the force of the American military, which kind of makes it hard to root for the Hulk.
Right?
You know?
Go, save yourself and no one else, I guess. I'm going to look up the leader right now, because I don't know why you don't know this about this character. I thought you would know more than me. Let's look up.
Sorry.
Let's find out.
The X-Men
what's
is
going
my
on with the
forte.
leader. That's good stuff. Don't get me wrong. This is actually boring. Ba-doo-ba-da-ba-dee. Gamma radiation released Bruce Banner's subconscious rate. Wait, what? Sam underwent some physical transformation. Blah, blah, blah. Look, man, I just wanted the wiki. Where did I go?
You lost.
I just wanted powers and abilities. Came out in 1964. The team affiliations are the Intelligenica?
Yeah.
Humanoids? Riot Squad?
I'm sorry. Is this like a team of people, or is...
No, this is team affiliations. Oh, do you know who I'm talking about? Do you know who the humanoids are?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I genuinely know nothing of him.
He's in the Thunderbolts. Ba-doo-ba-da-ba-dee. Let's see. I think he works with, what's his name? MODOK. But anyways, yeah, where are we at? Powers and abilities. The leader has superhuman mental acumen, whatever that means. As a result,
he's really good at being smart, Jay.
He's good at it. I hope you're good at being smart. It's a stupid thing to be. As a result of the exposure to an explosion of gamma irradiated waste, just waste, he possessed enhanced intuition, pattern solving.
Yeah, that's all it takes. You just roll around in it, and you're super now.
Information storage and retrieval, and logical and philosophical structuring. His ability to predict probable outcomes and tactical strategic scenarios is so advanced that it borders the clairvoyance. Borders on clairvoyance.
He's like one of those Oracle girls in 300. He just knows too much. Okay.
He has a perfect memory with the ability to recall every moment since the accident that gave him the powers. In addition, his superhuman intelligence, the leader is limited but potent telekinetic and telepathic powers. He is able to mentally control non-gamma mutated individuals. Okay. Isn't that a lot of people?
That's incredibly specific. Why even bother the Hulk?
Upon
He's the one thing you can't stop.
That's why he wants it. It toppled and has toppled a very weakened Hulk in his telekinetic blasts. Okay, so he took out the weak Hulk with these blasts. No. I didn't want to. There's not really too much to go over here. I wasn't doing. The leader possesses knowledge of genetics, physics, and robotics. Has designed a large number of sophisticated weapons, vehicles. Okay, so he's a smart dude.
And what? He's featured heavily in the cartoon series or something?
I would think so. I thought he was in like half of them as the villain.
All right, I will take it.
But yeah, I don't. I just searched the leader. I didn't go to Hulk's villain or Hulk. I guess I could see that. Who are the Hulk's villains? Hulk villains. I didn't spell villains right.
Believe you.
We got the Absorbing Man. He's primarily an enemy of the Thor. Crusher.
Oh, I'm told the Absorbing Man makes a pretty good outing in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You make it to that
sounds
might be
familiar. I don't know. I know. I don't know. Crusher Creel is empowered by the Norse god Loki with the ability to alter his body. Oh, this is Absorbing Man. Yeah, okay, I've seen, when he's animated, he's dope as fuck. Isn't he one of the, I thought he was someone else. Sandman is a big villain. Zax, I guess. Z-Z-Z-X-A-X? Zax? Tyrannus, Red King, UFOs, Maestro, and Brian Banner.
Wow. Yeah, this is all bad. I don't recognize any of these names. So I guess, you just have to put him up against something else equally as strong as him.
Well, yeah, and one of my favorite things about him, too, like, watching him in cartoons was I'd watch other bad cartoons like Fantastic Four, and, like, he'd just be roaming through New York.
How dare you?
Right? He'd be roaming through New York and...
Fantastic Four was solid.
The cartoon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Flame on. And on. And on and on and on.
Oh.
No?
But you remember that?
Okay.
You remember the one where Hulk showed up and beat the shit out of Thing? He just totally just put Thing in his place. Was like, yo, if I wanted to join the Fantastic Four, you'd be out so fast.
Just like that? Like a rat beef? Okay.
Well,
okay.
No, it was like they fought and he stood no chance against the Hulk. It was like the whole team doesn't stand a chance against the Hulk. Like, what is? But the one thing that Thing does is he does what Hulk does, just about 20% is good. It's so fucked up.
I mean, I do think the Hulk can be used correctly as a foil for the Avengers. Like when he has to fight the Avengers, and honestly, they've done it twice now in Ultron and in the Avengers. They just send him up against Iron Man or have him chase the Black Widow. Like he's not a good guy. He's a weird protagonist. It's fun to have him smash things.
He's a total wild card. 100%. He covers literally that one, I guess the last chance. Like, all right, well, we're all out of powers and we're all, like, we're tired. What are we going to do? Like, well, just see if Hulk can smash. Yeah, just smash through it. Well, okay, but he's all the way up there and just tell him to smash. And he'll just smash through it. It's like, yeah, but we need to go inside. Just tell Hulk to smash. Everything will work.
There's something we could talk about. As far as personality for the Hulk goes, do you like it when he's just all rage, no communication abilities other than in anger, or do you like a quasi-intelligent Hulk? Because apparently, and we're taping this a few days before Thor Ragnarok comes out. Oh. Apparently, he talks a lot more in Ragnarok.
Oh, I got my movie pass coming in the mail, Trey.
Yeah. And do you really? You got the movie pass? Is that the one where you get the discounts?
No, it's $10 a month, and you get to see a movie every day of the month.
God damn it. Look at you not rubing it up with all the normies.
You gotta kind of work the system a little bit. They tell you some bullshit like how you're not supposed to see the same movie, like, ever. But, I mean, that's easily done. Alright, you guys, whatever. But just let me get one for Jurassic World, I guess.
Or do you do you like it when he's super intelligent? Because there were a few issues in the comic where Bruce Banner and the Hulk were coexisted within each other pretty well. And having like a scientist Hulk, that's kind of horrifying.
Like because at that point the only thing he can't do is fly and shoot things. Like you basically given him 90% of all the powers at that point. Like okay, so now he doesn't he can still make. He can't shoot rays, but he can make sound with his hands, and then he'll, depending on if he wants to swat and
sound with his hands. Is that your way of saying a sonic boom?
Yeah, I guess that was my weak way of saying that. He can just make waves through the air just by clapping his hands, just like you could knock someone off their flight path with that. So it does have its perks, but it's still not flight. There's nothing you could do to replace flight. If you don't have the straight up flight like Superman and Rogue, where they just fly and they point where they want to go, maybe you're like Archangel or something where you can flap your wings. Either way, flying's pretty badass. And if you don't have it, it's a very you just I don't know. You can never use that angle.
But I do appreciate the aesthetic of how Hulk moves around. And in the 2003 film, the Ang Lee one, they were really big about showing him crossing large spans of desert through sheer jumping ability. That's a pretty dope way to move about any kind of open world, you know?
That's basically what I thought of Hulk. I thought that was a good rendition of him.
Yeah, but they don't do it so much in this film. Kind of towards the end when you see him getting out of the city. But even then, he's not wearing Jordans. He doesn't have the boosters that he does.
Well, you got to look at this movie differently. This is a brand new remake, and all the origin they told in a minute. So, do you think that left information throughout the rest of the movie?
No, I'm just talking about his basic power set.
This is my point. Is because as soon as you start off in the movie, he's Hulk, and he goes Hulk, and then it goes 150 days without incident. Well, he doesn't know how any of his limitations as Hulk. If he's only been Hulk once before, and it was 150 days ago.
I think you're just led to believe that.
How many times does he become Hulk in the 2003 one?
Not nearly enough.
I bet.
That movie is a slog of exposition filled with Nick Nolte being insane. But when he is the Hulk, it's pretty colorful. One thing one thing that they did that they didn't do in any other or any MCU films is they tried to treat it or Ang Lee had the cinematography kind of like comic book panels where you would see 3 different screens on on your television or movie theater wherever you saw it. But I thought that was neat as an aesthetic. It was just wrapped in an awful movie, but I felt like that was the case.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty neat way to go about that, and something we'll probably never see again because everybody's content to forget that movie existed.
I'm sure I've seen it again before. I'm sure I've seen it again because it isn't. You're saying this was the 2003 version? I haven't seen that one in so long. How the hell could I remember that?
But you know what I'm talking about, though. Just splitting up, having a couple things appear on once, and then a close up of his face. Yeah, and that would be especially good to do, especially since so many of your heroes are in mask and whatnot. And to that end, in setting up for Civil War, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark in Iron Man announced himself as Iron Man at the end of the film. Only really Bruce is hiding his identity, and that was a huge part of Civil War for the comic books, mainly showed through the plight of Spider-Man. But you don't really get a lot of the heroes within the MCU trying to actively contain their identity as much as Edward Norton is, and subsequently Mark Ruffalo in the Avengers.
They're trying to hide his identity?
Well, he doesn't want anyone to know he's the Hulk. Or mainly, he doesn't want people to see the Hulk, but I think it's important to him. I don't know what status he holds.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah.
At this point.
Anyone who knows Hulk as a hero probably doesn't know he's Bruce Banner, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but at this point, I don't think anybody knows Bruce Banner. I mean, for goodness sakes, he's packaging soda in Brazil. Like, nobody knows who this man is anymore.
That's true. That's true. He's off the face of the earth for what, 5-6 months?
Whatever 158 days is. Yeah, that timeline is a little wonky. So yeah, I don't know how many times he's been the Hulk. I mean, enough to. But I think you're just to understand that the Hulk is its own separate entity with its own agenda of escaping bullets, mainly, and yelling at lightning. He likes doing that too.
I mean, maybe there were more rockets shot at him in the one from the 2003 version.
Yeah, damn skippy there was.
Yeah, this
way
one,
more tanks.
This one went a little bit different. They went with the super soldier, and then they went with the sonic. Sonic waves. What was that fucking that shit that'll take out Venom? Like,
oh yeah,
super easy. I don't know what they're called. Sonic guns.
That one attached to a truck.
Yeah, it's like right, fucking Warthog style. But all right, what else do you want to say about this? We're running on 81 minutes. I think.
You know what? Yeah, that is impressive enough. We neglected to say that this is directed by Louis Leterrier, the director of The Transporter. Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Fighting choreography.
Also forgot Lou Ferrigno's in this movie.
Is he? Which one is he?
He was the security guard. They got past him with the pizza.
That's right. They used pizza twice in this movie to gain clearance and to all manner of facilities.
That just goes to show you, man. This is the comic universe. You just got to roll with a couple pizzas, man. Just you get the Ninja Turtles off your back, or get them on your side.
I really don't think that gets you into as many places as you think it does. You know, it's just pepperoni. I mean, far be it for me to slam pizza. It's one of my favorite foods, but still. It hasn't gotten me a lot of places. The Transporter. He also directed Now You See Me. Did you ever watch that?
I want to say yes.
Mark Ruffalo joint.
No, I don't see Mark Ruffalo.
That movie about magic and Lex Luthor's in it. Come on, Jesse Eisenberg.
Nope, not me, Captain.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
I'm trying to see what else is going on in this damn movie. Some characters transforming. And that one scene actually had two transformations. It had Abomination, and technically it had the leader. Technically speaking,
who I'm practically convinced is dead. But okay, I'll take it. I think we were a lot of.
Don't watch the movie again. Don't do it.
I won't. I think we were a lot harsher on it this time around. But it's fair to say that I do like the character of the Hulk, just within the parameters of a team dynamic. I don't think that he can hold his own series unless they want to do World War Hulk. Apparently, some of Thor Ragnarok is set on Sakaar?
Planet Sakaar.
Sakaar. There we are. That one. Yeah, so if they want to do Planet Hulk, like, I'm a little down for that, because that was the Hulk being compelling the entire way through, and there's no zoom in speakers mixing.
They'd have to do what they did at Logan. They got to make that shit rated R. That'd be way too dope.
They're not going to do that.
All it is gladiators killing everybody. The whole time he's there, he's just killing people. There's no, there's dialogue and there's killing people. How are you not going to
PG-13 that up?
Okay.
I mean, he's...
No, that's a good point. I argued this not long ago. There was a movie... Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, no, you're fine. Guardians of the Galaxy is nothing but just that dude whistling and people dying left and right.
Now, that was a lot of murder set to music and played for children. Yeah.
That's all you got to do, man. God damn it.
Well, I'm a little proud of us. That was the rerun of the Hulk. Jay, where can we find you all the social medias and
You
whatnot.
think I'd have this pulled up by now? We have J Parimal. That's my YouTube, or J Parimal 86. That's my YouTube channel. It's a Is It Just Me podcast. I have that on my Facebook, my Twitter, my SoundCloud. It's on iTunes. The M.C.U. will be up there shortly. We got to come up with a picture for this one. What else are we talking about? To Twitter, Facebook, all that jazz. Just search the name Jabril Parimal. Yeah.
And your Is It Just Me podcast is getting better, but you were railing against I think traffic the other day, just cars in front of you.
Oh, and I didn't do nearly enough. Why? What do you?
That was pretty insane. What did this guy do to you? Why was he driving in a manner that you needed to murder him? What was going on there?
The first guy that cut me off? Oh no, he was like
he cut you off. He was just driving slow.
No, he was stopped.
Sake.
He was stopped in the middle of the road. And then as soon as I came behind him, he was like, "Oh, maybe I should go." And I was just like, "Or get the fuck out of my way." And he just started going super slow. And then he did the signal
Did you do the thing where you frightened him, and now he's driving more erratically, or is this not your fault at all?
It's probably a little column A, a little column. I don't think I did anything to frighten him, but I'm not gonna say it's not my fault because I mean, it's one lane road. It's like this dude stopped. There's like a fork in the road coming up. Like he could be going to the right. No, he's not. He's gonna go left with me and just not tell anybody. And then when he decides like, when this lane, how do I remember this? When this lane,
you
like,
were so upset for no real reason.
No.
I'm surprised you didn't fishtail him like Grand Theft Auto.
You don't understand, dude. 7 minutes of traffic is the worst. It doesn't matter how long it is. Traffic is traffic, and people need to die for not going when it's time to go. How come the road isn't just full of giant signs that say "Go"?
Just self-driving cars are going to be here.
Slow down.
But in the meantime, I need to check my emails while I'm behind the wheel, Jay. You can't rush me.
Yeah, it's exactly. You need to get those emails displayed on your front LCD of the new age modern car, Trey. You need to update. All right.
2 thumbs. I'm driving with my knees. All right. I don't got time to pay attention to your left and rights.
Yeah. I wish that would work, and I wish that would work all the time. My car's smart enough to know that, like, I mean, I can drive with my knees, but I can't, like, do things like add a Bluetooth device while driving.
All right.
It's just like, the options are there. They're just not selectable while the car's in motion.
That defeats the purpose of being safe, doesn't it?
It's like, safe. No, it's like, no, like you'll see the option there, you just can't select it, and then when the car stops, it's like, okay, you wanted to add a device? It's like, motherfuck, yeah, how come I have a passenger? 4 of them. None of you are authorized to add this Bluetooth device. Next. This is why I don't want a modern car. They're getting worse. How about let's do fucking a podcast where we talk shit about, or just rail off on some shit that's pissing me off?
We're gonna. But next week, we will come back with Iron Man 2.
Do you want to do before? You want to record it before then?
No. Well,
no
yes. Yes. Later this week, we will be back with Iron Man 2.
Because this will be 2 minutes of editing.
Yes. Man, this was way worse than the first time we talked about the Hulk.
Only because we were kind of in a rush, because we decided to blow through 2, and then you were riding on black guy time. Your 30 minutes was like 60 minutes. And
problems, man. The world is out to get me. It just wouldn't let me do this on time.
But it shows a good point, though, too, because it also showed that, there wasn't enough to honestly keep us not sidetracked. It's just like, I'd rather talk about my unborn child than continue talking about this movie.
In all fairness, this was one of the weaker installments until we get to Ant-Man. So next week, or rather later this week, should be better.
What was that bit they put at the end? They put a tiny Easter egg?
Do you want to...
They found the hammer?
They put one at the end of every... No. That was at the end of Iron Man 2. At the end of this one, Tony Stark's end credits appearance. What if I told you we were putting a team together. Actually, this wasn't that much of an Easter egg because at the end of Iron Man, Fury came up to Stark, talking about the Avengers Initiative. And this one, Stark just comes up to Ross talking about the Avengers Initiative. It's just nice to have Downey and things.
Yeah, and
is the message to be learned.
I remember a correlation before too. What does Ross have to do with it?
Well, Ross does show up in, I want to say, Avengers. He's definitely going to be in Black Panthers. I think he was in Ultron as just generally one of the surly government overseeing antagonists to the team of superheroes. Just generally a wrench in the machine.
I thought there was a reason. I thought there was honestly a reason. They were like, yo, it had something to do with what he knows. It had something to do. Clearly it's revolving Hulk, but the gamma part or the super soldier serum part, there's something that has to do with the history about how he ties in with the other characters. Captain America.
About Ross?
Yes.
Ross is predominantly a Hulk villain, but right now he's General Ross. I think he moves up to like Secretary of State Ross, where like you really have to take him seriously. But just as a guy in a suit, so there's always going to be a few of those.
Well, that's good.
No. All right. Later this week, Iron Man 2 will bring A games and whatnot. Deuces.
Yes. Peace out.